Hey guys, what's up? It's Blackcubing. Today I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks to make your F2L faster. F2L is the second step of the Friedrich method, and it is the most important step, and there's a lot of room to improve. So without any further ado, let me begin with the tips and tricks. And so let me scramble the cube. By the way, I just set up my Oolong V2 today, and it's extremely fast, a bit uncontrollable too, but I like it. So yeah, let's begin with the first tip. Now the first tip is actually going to be regarding the cross. So the first tip while solving the 3x3 is not while you're doing the 3x3 stage itself, it's while you're doing the cross. So you track a pair while you're solving the cross, so that helps you start your first pair quicker. So for example, if I track this pair, which is the green and orange pair, then while I'm solving the cross now, I can see where these pieces go, and I can see that finally this piece ends up here and this piece ends up here, so I can solve them easily. Now the second tip actually comes with this case itself. It is to not use inefficient algorithms to solve the cube. For example, some people might take this corner out like that and then solve this case. Instead of that, what you could do is you could just solve this in a different way, while making sure that you use less moves while solving it. And also you should not solve it like this, so you should come up with your own algorithms to solve such cases, or you can look at websites like AlpDB. Now the next thing is to minimize cube rotations, but before that I want to show you one more case, one more easy case where an alternative algorithm might be very difficult, and this is the case. Okay, so this is the case where the corner piece is in like this, and the edge piece is arranged in this manner. So instead of using some really long algorithm, what you do is you do an R, U, R prime, U2, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. So while doing it fast, it looks like this. As you can see, this is an extremely fast algorithm. Okay. Now one more thing is such a case. So while you have such a case, you should do something like this instead of removing this out of the slot. So you should never remove a pair out of the slot before solving it if you want to do your F2L efficiently. Okay, so the next thing is somewhat similar or somewhat related to this, and it is solving pairs even when they are not in their slot. So for example, if you have this pair here, instead of taking it out and then solving it like you would in an algorithmic fashion, you can first solve it intuitively like this and then insert it. So solve it intuitively like this and then insert it like this. So to solve pairs like this, you really need to know intuitive F2L, and it is extremely helpful to know intuitive F2L. So that is also a tip and trick. Learn to solve your F2L intuitively, not algorithmically. However, some cases like the one I showed you before actually might have the algorithmic version better. So you need to learn to decide what you should use. So one more case is this one, where the corner is here and the edge is here. So many people will take this out and then use that algorithm I showed you previously to solve it. Instead of that, you can solve it very easily like this. This is also an intuitive algorithm. You can figure it out very easily in an intuitive manner. So the way it works is that it matches up these the two pieces like that, and then it brings them up for you to solve like this, and then you can solve them as you would solve normally. Now the fourth pair is this one, and which brings us to another important tip and trick. It is to solve pairs from different angles, to learn to solve pairs from different angles. Now this helps you to reduce your cube rotations, and the actual tip and trick here is to reduce your cube rotations. Solving these pairs from different angles is just one way to do so, and many people in fact say that you should reduce your cube rotations, but they do not tell you why you should do them. The reason for why you should reduce your cube rotations is that it helps you to look ahead better, because if you are tracking a piece when you are in this setup, suddenly moving to this setup or this setup or a Y2 altogether will slow down your tracking. So instead of doing a Y2 and solving this pair, you could just solve this from this angle and then insert it, which brings us to the second way of reducing cube rotations, which is to learn different insertion techniques. So normally I would insert this pair like this, but a Y2 is extremely inefficient, and when you have this setup where you have the pair to be inserted at the back and the pair in this format over here, what you do is you open up the slot like this, you put the pair in, and then you close the slot. So that is very useful. Also, when you have cases like these, you should not solve them like this, you should solve them like this. Or one more common insertion technique that you can use is when you have got a pair like this to be inserted at the back left slot, what you do is you open the slot up like this, you insert this pair, and then you close the slot. So that way, which brings us to another insertion technique. This insertion technique is when you have got a pair set up like this. You've got a pair set up like this. What you do is you do a fat R. There are two ways, but the first way is doing a fat R or a small r, a U, R prime, U prime, M prime. So, and it can be quite fast and also ergonomic. And the other way is only a 4-move algorithm. It's an F, R prime, F prime, R, which is actually the inverse of the sledgehammer, which is also a very fast algorithm. However, if you're like me, you might need to do this to solve this algorithm faster, and if by doing this stops you from tracking other pairs somewhere else on the cube. So for some people this algorithm might not be good. For some people who might solve it like this, say, it might be good. So you can choose what algorithm you want, and if you do not like any of these, you can check if there are any other algorithms on the internet, but you should try to reduce your cube rotations to about 3 to 4 per F2L per solve. So 4 is usually considered a lot, and 5 is the absolute maximum. So you should reduce your cube rotations, and importantly, never do a Y2. Should never. Sometimes just doing a Y or a Y prime is fine, but rotating the cube twice or doing a Y2 is usually bad, because it also slows down your look ahead. It also slows down your solve directly. So you should try to reduce cube rotations as much as possible. And now the last thing is look ahead. So if you see many of the fast solvers, you will realize that they pause very less times while they are solving the cube, and the reason they do that is to the reason they do that is because their look ahead is very good. So for example, while I'm solving this pair and inserting it with the single algorithm insertion, I can see that there is this pair back here which can be solved like this. But while I'm doing that, I notice this pair which I solve like this, and finally I notice this pair which I can solve like this. So try to have your solves done as smoothly as possible, having cube rotations to the minimum, keep cube rotations as less as possible. And now the last thing which only applies to advanced solvers is also while doing the cross. It actually consists of two things. It is to make your F2L easier. So one way you could do this is by building X crosses, but another way you could do this is by saving pairs. So for example, if you have say a pair like this, then it is generally considered a good idea to solve your F2L in such a way that it saves that pair. So for example, I could solve my F2L in this manner right now, so that I solve that pair, so that I save that pair. Also I could do an X cross, and I have opted to do an X cross here because the pair was already in the slot. But if the pair is outside the slot, then you could save the pair so that after you're done, you could easily do the rest of the solve fast. And also to improve your look ahead, you could turn slowly. This greatly improves your look ahead, and it also helps you to improve. So turning fast will only help you improve to a certain extent. If you turn slowly, then for a few days your times might become slower, but you will notice an immediate increase in look ahead, and after a few days of turning slowly and practicing, you will notice that your times have become significantly faster. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.